A change of leadership in F1. Lewis lands on Time's list of the 100 most influential people. Will we see F1 start? Rotating tracks on the calendar. And all aboard the F1 train, comrades. We're off to Russia. Let's jump the start.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Jump the Start podcast. It's Wellington. I'm back. The Fall Guys marathon is over. I'm here with two of my closest friends. Ruben, say hello.
Hello, hello. Walt is back.
Yhancy.
Hello.
So today's episode, we will be discussing the Russian Grand Prix and also some of the news that's been going on swirling in the Formula One O-sphere. Before then, I just want to make sure that we talk about where you can find us. You can find us on, of course, Twitter and Instagram at Jump the Start F1. And we're also available as a podcast on YouTube, Jump the Start Racing podcast on YouTube. And we're also available on, let's see if I can remember this, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, iHeart Radio, and I think that's it. So jumping into it, the news, Stefano Domenicali, new F1 CEO, replacing Chase Carey. This gentleman was the Ferrari boss from 2008 to 2014. So he oversaw, he oversaw the decay of the Ferrari empire from Michael Schumacher on down through like where we are now. He was the president also of the FIA Single-Seater Commission. Yhancy, this is somebody coming from your team to join the F1 management in place of Chase Carey. What do you think of this news?
As much as you guys hate on Ferrari, it seems like all the Ferrari guys take all the important spots in the sport. You have John
it's called the golden parachute.
John Todd at the FIA. You have
Ross Brawn.
You have Russ Brawn at heading up the technical department over at the FIA and making up the new rules, which hopefully, they will come in 2022 and hopefully make the racing better. And now you have Stefano Domenicali, who's very liked in the F1 paddock and has stayed in touch, with obviously Ferrari, but the entire F1 world, and has been very instrumental in creating the step ladder up to F1, meaning that he was head of the FIA Single-Seater Commission, which in turn, it used to be GP2 and then F3, and it was just a discombobulated mess. Nobody knew which driver was going where. Now it's F1, F2, F3, and that is the ladder to get up to Formula One for drivers. So, we'll see what happens, but he seems to be very liked. It's good that it's somebody who actually knows the sport. It's not an American who, not saying that Chase Carey didn't do a bad job. Obviously, I think that ever since Liberty bought F1, it has been a step in the right direction as far as getting the sport more active on social media, getting it more popularity. Basically bringing it up to the 20th century, the 21st century. But now it is somebody who knows the sport, who's willing to grow the sport, who's been involved in the lower categories as far as creating that step ladder, now coming in to head up F1. I think it'll be a positive thing.
I don't know. You guys mentioned these names. I probably know these guys by faces. I'm a horrible person to remember names. Who is the guy Chase you guys mentioned? This is the guy.
He's the guy with the mustache, the huge mustache. Okay, yeah.
So that guy has been doing a horrible job. The app is still not working.
Why?
So what
are you talking about?
Why do you say that?
This year is a testament to how
what we're doing. He suck at it.
Yo,
what
come
we
on.
need him for?
What do we need him for?
To fix the app, so we don't have no glitches.
F1 TV. Wow.
I don't think that's his job, but
so let's put it this way. In my opinion, to be able to pivot and to make this year work, I think Chase Carey and the whole F1 management has done a phenomenal job.
I agree with you. I think they've done an awesome job considering how when they bought F1, how in the doldrums they were as far as just promoting the sport and making it to what it is now. And we'll see what happens in 2022. But the fact that we're going in the right direction, we're vying for a more competitive a sport in 2022 with the new rules coming in and also the cost cap coming in next year. That is all something that was the vision of Liberty when they bought the sport, and it's coming to fruition, and we'll see we'll see it bear fruit, obviously, in the next 2 years.
That in the last statement that was made, of course I agree with him. For example, I think the only sport in the world right now that could come a little bit close to what F1 is doing is maybe the UFC. Everybody else is still miles behind them.
I don't know if I agree. The NFL has pulled off 2 successful weeks with nobody getting positive with COVID.
But they're not going to different countries. They're not.
Yeah, but
they're going to different states.
But they're different states in the country that's most affected by COVID. Well, we don't want to talk about this, man.
Yeah,
we're veering way off topic.
Yeah. So my only concern is we discussed that Chase Carey, he's an American, coming from Liberty Media. We were making, by we I mean F1 and F1 fans, we're making some serious inroads into the American market, into the U.S. market. I am hesitant and I'm nervous about somebody that is from Europe being able to continue to grow the market in the Americas. These are all European, I got to choose my words carefully, all European manufacturers, European based, obviously in the UK or Italy. It needs to grow a little more worldwide, and it needs to have a more global focus. I just want to make sure that that's what's maintained.
I think it will. At the end of the day, you still have to know your own business model before you can grow it. Stefano Domenicali, I think, is well aware of the politics of F1 and how it works. He definitely has more connections worldwide. I get your point on growing it in the Americas because it's a big market that I believe F1 hasn't tapped to its potential. Can it tap it? Can it get as popular as one of the big 4 sports here? I don't think so.
No.
But you can definitely make inroads. I think that we'll see what happens. I think you're gonna have to do, if you want to get more popular here in the States, you're gonna have to do another race besides COTA at Circuit of the Americas. You're talking about other tracks like, maybe at Laguna Seca. There's always been rumor to race there, or even in Indianapolis Motor Speedway, or even Miami. I don't know where that has gone. Especially those rumors seem to disappear after COVID hit. But you're definitely gonna need another race. We'll see what happens. I don't know what to tell you because I haven't heard anything else. But that is definitely a concern. A valid concern that you have, Wells.
All right, so moving on to the next piece of information. Lewis Hamilton, our boy, well, me and Ruben's boy, named one of Time's top 100 most influential people. So we know in Formula One, he's about to tie Michael Schumacher's race win record. He's about to become, I don't see anybody else standing in his way to become champion. Outside of that, though, if you follow him on social media, he's constantly on climate change, constantly on the BLM movement, constantly on just animal, activism. He is, in a way, people may know him more for that type of stuff than actually racing, the people that aren't Formula One followers, because his fame and celebrity transcends the sport. Ruben, I know you're a big Lewis Hamilton fan. You're the one that got us into racing itself, into the Formula One racing. What do you think about this?
Listen, I think that this there's this side of Lewis Hamilton that has developed as he became more into vegan and taking care of his body and looking into all this, all these things that are happening around the world. And, obviously taking care of the world, using less plastic. He's involved in all that stuff. That's nothing but positive things for him, for the world, having a person that, of this magnitude projecting that. He's on the Times list. He was in part of the Titans list, something like that. So it's something, he's just like, sportsman of the year or whatever, top 100 sports. He's being looked at in a list with no sports guys. There's probably another couple of more sports guys that I haven't looked at the list, but it's a list that has nothing to do with sports. It's pretty much, obviously, the sport aspect influences a little bit of it, but I think the spot that he got on the list was for all his activities that he does outside of F1, and that he's trying to bring to the front stage, so it could get more light. And I'm up for it.
Yeah, he's a pretty spectacular guy considering, all that he's accomplished, and he still wants to accomplish more, and I respect him for that. I've become a fan of Lewis Hamilton, just because, one, he's a winner, and we all love winners, and he is literally on the verge of breaking the all-time win record, or tying the all-time win record in F1, breaking it, tying Michael Schumacher for the most championships. He's already holds the most poles in F1 history. I mean, the guy is just in F1, he's an amazing driver. And now he is taking advantage of his platform to amplify messages of not only unity, but also just to the betterment of the world in its entirety. And the guy, travels the world, he sees the problems, and he uses his platform to amplify those needs. And now he's taken another step forward, with the creation of the Hamilton Commission and other, ventures that he has to actually try and be a part of the solution to solve these problems. So hats off to Lewis Hamilton. Well-deserved to be on that list. I hope to see him there in more years to come. And I think he will be on that list again, just because he has a platform, he has a following. And honestly, all I see out of Lewis Hamilton is just positivity. He always says it, and it's something good to see out of a sports person or sportsman.
Just to touch again on Wellington's thing about point about Ham, do you see Lewis Hamilton being 100 Grand Prix winner? Because he's definitely breaking the record. Obviously, the way the Mercedes car is performing. This is already coming back to what he's accomplishing in the sport that we cover. Or that we like and we love. Do you see him passing 100 wins?
I definitely see it.
Me too.
I see it because we're gonna have the same cars this year. We have how many races left this year?
9.
We have 9 races left. Who doesn't say that he wins all 9? Even if he gets 5, he's already halfway to 100.
Yeah.
So,
by the way, this is like records that at one point people thought they were untouchable.
Yeah, and
I think the closest guy next to him is like better with 57.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. It's you look at these records and it's like, wow. And I remember, I wasn't an F1 fan back when Michael Schumacher was, running haywire all over F1. But we all knew who Michael Schumacher was.
Regardless
if you follow Formula One or not, we all knew the guy drove the fastest car in the world, and he was a champion, and he was a 7-time champion.
Say it the right way, Yhancy. We all knew that if you're driving any car around that time, and you're driving like a maniac, they'll tell you, who do you think you are, Schumacher or something?
Yeah, exactly. or just the same way somebody mentions a motorcycle, and who do you think you're, Valentino Rossi?
Yep.
Schumacher, nobody even thought that somebody would even come close, and just for it to be just so close after Schumacher retires. Remember that Lewis Hamilton drove in F1 at the same time that Schumacher was, driving at the tail end of his career. Mm-hmm. So it's just insane that he's even gonna tie that record or even break that record. But I think by next year, remember, we're gonna have more races, so we're gonna have anywhere from 21 to 22 races next year.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, definitely he's gonna break. He'll break 100 wins even before we get to 2022 and the rules change, because we're gonna have the same cars this year and next year. What's not to say Mercedes won't be just as dominant?
So, still outside of Formula One, he broke into Formula One in 2007, right? 2011, he was in Cars 2 as like the fastest car that what's his name had to beat.
As himself.
Yeah, as himself. He was on Christina Aguilera's album.
Nobody knew about, but
nobody knew about, but he revealed himself to be
XDNA.
Be that XDNA. And then what was it, last year or 2 years ago, he released a clothing line with Tommy Hilfiger.
Yes.
So he's a driver, he's an voice actor, singer, and a clothing designer. What's my opinion is, or my question is, what's going to be next for him? Like he just continues to expand his brand, the brand of Lewis Hamilton, and that creates such a platform for him that it's almost inevitable for him to be on a list like this.
Let's not forget he's now a team owner.
That's right.
In the X Drive series, which is basically the SUV electric rally series, which is right up his alley, considering that that he does push environmental change, or more green world. So I mean, the sky's the limit. I don't know if he'll ever be an F1 team owner. That's big, but I mean, either way, the sky's the limit for this guy. He's proven that he can do anything he wants to do and be successful at it, or even be moderately good, considering, and on top of that, being the best, considered the GOAT in the greatest of all time in F1. I mean, I if he breaks that record, which I think he will, there's no doubt he'll be the GOAT.
Yeah.
He's won at least one race every single season he's been in F1. That is insane.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Next piece of news, how do I say this? The team bosses, or a lot of the team bosses, have backed the idea of having tracks rotate in and out of the calendar from year to year. We've seen, obviously, Mugello this year. Have we come across any other new ones? We saw, we're going to be seeing Portugal. We're going to be seeing Nürburgring come back, Turkey come back. Is this the way that Formula One is going to be headed, Yhancy?
Yeah, I think so. And it seems like all the F1 team bosses are behind it too. It wouldn't be a bad idea, considering that we've gotten a few. Mugello wasn't, as far as like pure racing, the greatest race, but it was definitely entertaining, and that's because a lot of the teams didn't know the track too well, or didn't know. There were certain variables that some teams didn't know as far as race day. So if you can bring in at least one or two tracks where you can rotate them, yeah, why not? We'll see what happens at Imola. We'll see what happens at Portimao. But I think that there's going to be some variables that we can't think of right now, but something will pop up. We'll shake things up a little bit. At least we'll have some interesting racing, and it won't be these parades that sometimes we get. But yeah, I think it's the way to go. I think this was the year to try new things, and F1 has definitely tried new things, and we'll see what happens at Imola with the 2-day race weekends. And if it's deemed to be successful, Liberty Media, since they've been the owners, have been open to shake things up a little bit, to bring something new into the sport, which it desperately needed, before they bought it. And yeah, I like the idea. Why not? And we get to see, some new tracks, or some tracks that I've never seen before. So, since I'm basically considered a new F1 fan. I love watching the racing at Mugello. I love watching those cars go around that track. That track was absolutely beautiful. It was mayhem, obviously, with everything that went on. It was actually, it was an entertaining weekend.
I actually like the idea of doing that. It gives us also more of a how would you word that? More of a suspense at the beginning of the year.
Suspense.
Because now
yeah.
because you will be wondering where are we headed this year. Like, damn, oh, we're doing it this weekend. Oh, so I could make plans for that weekend probably to go see that race over there because it's probably near a bigger city or vice versa. Listen, Liberty Media has shown that they're open. They're like Yhancy said, that they could shake things up, and they have been bringing constantly changes to F1. Some work, some don't. I think this might work.
I mean, we've seen something.
I'm sorry. I just a quick question. I'm putting you guys on the spot. Any tracks that you guys will be interested in, coming onto the F1 calendar that you've heard
Coming
before?
onto the calendar or coming back?
Coming back or coming on?
How about this? Like, it would be nice. I don't know if they'll do it because Vietnam is new. But if you do Vietnam and alternate it with like Malaysia, which is a classic track, what I would like to see
track to come back onto
to bring back, yeah. What I would like to see is, like, for example, what they have already done with the German Grand Prix, where one year it was at Nürburgring, the next year it was at Hockenheim, and they would alternate like that. Maybe they could do that with like Mugello and Imola. Maybe they could do that with Vietnam and Malaysia. It's just really, it's about the contracts, because building and maintaining these facilities, it comes with a specific cost, and these people need to recoup their money. And the way they recoup their money, we were just looking up the attendance numbers. 2019, the Canadian GP had 307,000 people come through the gates. If each person spends $3, that's $1 million.
Yep. And we definitely spend more than $3.
Well,
I'd like to see some races at Indianapolis Motor Speedway and Laguna Seca. I mentioned those earlier. I think it would be cool to see an F1 car go through the banking at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, which would be hella cool. And we would have seen some of that if we would have had the race at, a car go through some banking, if we would have seen it at in the Netherlands at I forgot the name of the track, the Dutch Grand Prix.
That's another.
Yeah, that would have.
There's so many that were being added this year.
Yeah,
we just didn't even get to see Vietnam and Zandvoort.
Mm-hmm. And I'd love to see the F1 cars go through the corkscrew at Laguna Seca. That'll be awesome too.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I think I remember playing that track on
in like Gran Turismo,
USA, right?
Oh my god!
On the arcade, Cruising USA. That was like one of the toughest turns to take on that game.
I remember being with my PS1 steering wheel.
Of course, I went back. Man, come on,
my PS1 steering wheel on Gran Turismo. But so Mugello was it had a lot of variables in the sense that, like, it was the first time that they saw that track, so there was a lot of, I guess, variability and just X factors as far as how the race was going to go. And we saw that with, in particular, where Valtteri Bottas accelerated from the safety car. That's something that the drivers weren't used to, even though we saw F2 handle that properly.
Yeah, well, it's less data. We've been talking about this for a while in a lot of circles in F1. You give the teams less data, then there's more. You add more variables to what they don't know, and you can easily make a mistake, and another team could take advantage of it. That's what and that's exactly what they're going to be doing at Imola with the 2-day race weekends. Less data. You know, I know some people love the data, but if you know it, then it could be predictable. If you don't know it, then it could be fun.
So which track?
Try things.
Yeah.
Which track takes the L and is gone?
Which track takes the L?
Because you can't have 40 races a year, right?
I don't think they're not going to take an L because they're looking to expand up to 25 races. So I don't, it's going to happen. Eventually it will. Because there, a lot of promoters now, and this is going to be the trend going forward. They're not going to play. They're going to pay the race fees, but they're not going to pay as much anymore. So F1 needs more income. They'll spread it out. 25 races make less, but in the long run, they'll make more. Because right now you're not putting all the burden on the promoters to make the money, because that was the issue that was happening before.
I think the also what it has to do is, for example, I think for us here having more races, what I've been thinking this for a little minute already. Like for example, if you add another race so close, and like for example, if you try to do them like after Canada kind of stuff, or have just the America races done at the same time, it'll be tough to do multiple races. I believe in the U.S. for fan attendance. It could be a double-edged sword because since it's so close and people are used to traveling to these events, you don't have enough time. Some people might go to one but not go to the other.
That makes a lot of sense, but then it makes a lot of sense.
Obviously, Europe we don't see that.
I was going to mention, Mexico and Canada together. It's not too far, but then it's different countries, so it's.
But we do Austin and Mexico back to back, and they're even closer geographically.
Yeah, but it's two different countries, so it's it's like some maybe
it's not Europe.
Some U.S. fans are willing to go to Texas, but they're not willing to go to Mexico. So it's a lot of things that go into play. Obviously, FOM's a lot smarter than us when it comes, and they have more data to do these things. But I think a second race in the U.S. will definitely help out. It's not like it hasn't been done before. So,
but if they're not done back to back, they have the potential of having more attendance.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then if you could do one in the north and one in the south, it'll be even better too. Or even
I could definitely go to. I will go to all of them if I can.
Well, yeah, for sure, I would too.
So speaking of tracks and fans and all that lovely stuff in 2020. The officials were talking about in Nürburgring for what is called the Eifel Grand Prix, selling approximately 20,000 tickets to fans. It's not the full Nordschleife track, so obviously it's not like across the however long that track is. But what do you guys feel about finally opening up to ticket sales? Because we had fans at Mugello, but that was first responders.
Yeah, it was only like 3,000 fans. I think the most, like 2,000 or 3,000 fans. So, and I'm assuming that venue holds close to 100,000 people. I don't know the numbers, but and I also heard that at the Nürburgring, it can hold up to anywhere from 150,000 fans. So 20,000 fans is literally a drop in the bucket. But I think, going through all of this stuff, and we're still going through it now, we're a bit traumatized to see that many people together. Or at least we are here in New York. Some people in other parts of the country are not. So
I think if you space it out throughout the track, it's going to be a sucky race to watch because you're going to pretty much be by yourself where you're watching it from. But I think that we properly distance. Remember, wherever you go right now is 6 feet. You could put 20,000 people that 6 feet away from each other with no problem. If they're used to having, over 100 or whatever.
No, especially if they're in groups, like if you're in a family, in a cluster of people that you're usually around in.
Exactly.
It wouldn't be a bad idea. And the driver, it's not like the drivers or any other personnel are going to be like that close to the fans anyways. I'm pretty sure they're not going to hold like autograph sessions or anything like that.
Yeah.
So we don't think it's a terrible idea, is what we're saying.
No, man. I think at some point, like I said, we've all been a bit traumatized by all of this that's been going on. We're highly vigilant. It's quite stressful considering all the things that we have to juggle. If we have a chance to go see some race cars, as we have F1 fans, love to see these cars going around the track, and seeing them live is, seeing them on TV is great, but seeing them live is just an out of this world experience if you love race cars and if you love F1. So if we can have at least, put a smile on a few people's faces down in Germany, which they've been doing a great job of handling this whole situation. If they can do it safely, why not? As long as it doesn't, I don't think it'll affect anybody in the paddock, but we can sit in the grandstand and watch some F1 cars just, go around the track and, see some racing and see qualifying laps. And yeah, go for it. And if you
So-
if you don't feel it's safe, then just don't go.
So I'm thinking about the other aspect of watching a race. So they're gonna have vendors. So I have to get down from my seat now, or go to my trunk to get beer. Where am I gonna get a drink? Where am I,
Well,
it's
no,
only 20,000 people.
no, I think they do have vendors. They do have vendors. So
Here's the solution. You remember that helmet with the 2 beers on the side and the straw?
There you go.
That's
Also solution.
yeah, but the Nürburgring, Ruben knows because he's been there, and he set one of the fastest laps. Nürburgring itself is literally set into a forest. It's very open air, very out in nature. I don't know. I'm interested in seeing how this works out. I know that they're going to have soccer games out in Germany with fans in attendance. I think sometime soon. I'm not sure actually, but we'll see.
So touching on what Wellington just mentioned of the Nürburgring, we landed where it was in Frankfurt, and it was a 2.5 hour drive from there to the Nürburgring. The Nürburgring is in country city, dude. Like there's a ton of space up there. I don't think anywhere in Germany you're gonna have cleaner air than up there.
it looks like a
Yhancy.
Game of Thrones forest or something.
Dude,
Yes,
Yeah.
Yhancy, it's far.
Wilderness.
yeah. I'm surprised we didn't see elves.
It's far. But once you're up there, dude, it's like everything racetrack in that little area. Obviously some companies have their testing facilities there and stuff like that. Like BMW has a testing facility for the M cars and stuff like that. But once you're there, everything is also very spacious. We happened to get lucky when we went that weekend, and there was a festival going to start that Saturday or something like that. And there was a bunch of people all over the place just camping, like on the side of the road. Like I guess what is normally used for parking. People were there like with their motorhomes and trailers and just tents, camping for the festival that was happening over the weekend.
Yeah, but let's
So
go.
there
man.
is-
I want to go.
They're
Wow.
used to having a ton of people up there.
We can't leave the country.
And-
I'm sorry.
They're used to having a ton of people up there, and
You make
I'm
it
pretty
sound
sure
like
the
it's
area-
honestly, if it's one of those races that I would go to if I had a chance to, just because I know we're able to stay apart from people, and if I can see an F1 car, yeah, you're getting me excited just talking about it, but I can't leave the country.
dude, and you're probably not going to get a better area distance-wise and clean than that area.
Yeah, Spa.
Yeah.
A Spa, yeah, a Spa, 'cause it's similar.
I don't know. It was like, as you can tell, it was like a pilgrimage for us. So the last little bit of news that I want to talk about, it's actually something that slipped through the cracks for us because of the timing of the announcement. And I just wanted to go over quick thoughts from you guys. Sebastian Vettel officially to Aston Martin next year, replacing Checo Perez. Ruben, go.
This sucks, man. This guy just saved your jobs, dude, and you're firing him? Come on, man. This guy literally saved the company and brought Stroll in. Like, Stroll, can you at least be thankful for this guy and give him...
He really brought him in?
Huh?
He brought him in?
Meaning he gave him the opportunity because he was the one that brought the team to, what do you call that?
The administration.
Yeah.
To administration, there you go, to bankruptcy court, whatever the hell you want to call it. This guy was able to save all these jobs, and all he's getting is like a bye-bye hug. Yeah, we don't need you no more. We're not going to continue with your contract. We are actually, exercising that small clause that you didn't read when you signed.
You don't. They said you don't have to go home, but you got.
We were lied to. We were lied to because they said earlier. I think it was by it was Racing Point that said that they didn't have an opt-out option in Checo's contract, just to simmer down some of the speculation that was going on.
Apparently they did.
But apparently they did, and I was right. And Vettel was going to Racing Point. And I know you felt bad, Ruben, because you wanted him to go to Red Bull, but I told you that wasn't an option.
Come back home.
So then the flip side of that is, Yhancy, what do you think about Checo Perez? Is he going to race again in F1? Where is he going to go?
He deserves to be in F1 for sure. He mentioned that he wanted to be in a competitive seat. I don't see that happening. Your two options are Haas and Alfa Romeo. mean, obviously, they're both Ferrari they're both Ferrari customers, so they're not
Alfa
really going
Romeo is
anywhere.
more competitive than the Ferrari right now.
Thank you for reminding me. But yeah, so those are his two options right now. I don't see him anywhere else. The other option is to go to another series. I think he'll do great in IndyCar. He'll definitely. Any team will scoop him up. There's been rumors that he's been tied to McLaren. I think McLaren will run a third car for him because this is, IndyCar is not like F1 where you just have the two cars. You can add, if you have the budget and you have the sponsorship, you can add another car to your team. McLaren is interested in adding, with the amount of sponsors that Checo brings in, the Mexican sponsors, and obviously one of his big backers is Carlos Slim, one of the richest men in the world. He'll definitely have enough sponsorship to run another team in the IndyCar, and the sponsors will definitely be interested because it's in the Americas. So it'll bring in a lot of Mexican racing fans, to a lot of eyeballs on IndyCar as well, and it'll also be beneficial for him as well. So that's also another option for him. Where do I see it going? He'll probably stay in F1. I don't see why he would leave F1 if he has an opportunity, but it'll be cool to see him in IndyCar for sure.
I like both options, by the way. I think if he stays in Formula One, he's definitely going to go to Haas. That's at least for himself and the sponsors. The option to go to Haas is the best one,
and for Haas,
yeah, and for Haas, money in. Yeah, for both, for actually also for the team itself, because Haas is an American company. Having a guy from the Americas
and
that team.
And Haas's sphere of influence is not only all North America, but South America, including all Latin American countries.
They want to keep expanding the market on the Americas. Mm-hmm. In IndyCar, I think he'll also be a very good ad for the same purpose, of him being in the Americas. I mean, the Mexican driver of Mexican descent, I don't know if he's fully Mexican, the gentleman that I'm going to mention. I believe his name is Pato O'War or something.
He's Mexican. Pato O'War.
He is Mexican.
He races for McLaren also.
And he's doing very well.
Yeah.
Really he has a nice future. He's
actually in IndyCar. He is. I don't think he'll win the championship, but he is challenging for the championship. He's up there. He's been racing
compared to where he was last year. He's doing awesome this year.
Well, he was racing for the Red Bull team in F2 this time last year. And he decided to go to IndyCar because obviously it would go better for him. He's an awesome talent. I can't wait. I'm an IndyCar fan.
He's definitely showing that he's not Marcus Ericsson.
Yeah.
And Marcus Ericsson isn't technically a better team in IndyCar than
exactly.
McLaren. But yeah,
so
it'll be interesting to see if that happens.
I think that he does go to Haas. Obviously, it makes sense. I'm going to give you the other side of this. If Kevin Magnussen stays with Haas, I think that he beats the brakes off of Checo Perez. I think he is, at this point right now in their careers, I think he is the better driver.
You think Kevin Magnussen will beat Checo?
Yes.
That is a bold statement. Nobody thinks that Kevin Magnussen is a better driver than Checo. You think it will do it multiple? Like, let's say if he signs up for a multi-year deal, I can see the first year just because Kevin Magnussen is familiar with the car. You don't think that Checo can beat him in the second year?
No.
Wellington did not say that he believes Magnussen is a better driver than Perez. Wellington said that Magnussen will beat him on the Haas because Magnussen's already been there. He knows the team. He knows the car. But there's something missing in the Magnussen camp.
If you beat somebody, you could say that you're better than them.
Doesn't mean you're better than him. You may have you may have the package that Magnussen have, and Perez not going to have it when he comes in.
Yeah, but that's why I asked you.
Doesn't mean Magnussen is better than him.
Yeah, but so then you would say that Wellington just said that he wouldn't beat him in the second year.
Exactly.
You guys are hearing what I'm not saying. I didn't say.
All right, hold on. Wellington's going to clarify.
Magnussen would beat Checo even in the second year.
You guys are hearing what I'm not saying.
Huh?
Wellington is saying that we just heard something totally different than what he said.
What did you say again, Wellington?
I said that if Checo joins Haas, Kevin Magnussen would beat him. So what I'm going to say, I'm going to extend that. If it's next year, if it's the year beyond that, he's going to beat him. I think that you see Lance Stroll performing better than Checo Perez. And what do we think about Lance Stroll?
Yeah, he sucks.
Right. We saw that Esteban Ocon was very competitive with him, at the tail end of the 2 years that Ocon was with Force India at the time. So
you're saying that Checo's on the decline?
I'm saying that Checo is on the decline. He's got his pluses. He can manage the tires, which Haas actually needs. But I just don't see him being able to beat many of the other drivers on the grid right now.
Man.
I got a question for you.
You got a good point, but I disagree, yeah.
How do you get Magnussen to be solid?
Get him a good car.
Weekends, and then he just goes all the way to the back.
The car is a problem.
It's faster than the Ferrari.
Listen, the Haas needs to blow that team up. I think Haas will get rid of both drivers, actually.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think
so.
Yeah,
we'll never see this dream scenario.
No, I don't think. I mean, Grosjean was on his way out anyways. I'm surprised Grosjean's even in F1 this year. The last 2 years, I'm surprised he's been signed up.
He's cheap.
I think he's that because he's cheap, and who are they going to bring? Hulkenberg?
And Kevin Magnussen hasn't exactly been lights out, so I think they would bring Hulkenberg in.
I think this is the year that is showing us like a major over the top shift in drivers. 2 years ago there was some shift as well, but this is like the one that super breakthrough.
There's still hope for me.
Yeah, there's still hope for you, of course.
So here's what I'm going to say, just to wrap up on Haas.
I'll be your sponsor.
Thank you. Just to wrap up on Haas, remember that last year, they went back to the Australia specs car.
For being wanksters?
I'm sorry?
What they're called, wanksters?
Yeah.
Wankers?
Because their car in general was just so bad, not just the engine.
But who was the one that said that?
It was Grosjean.
Okay, good. Not Magnussen.
You don't know what happens in the team.
What saved Haas last year was that they had the engine.
The Ferrari
last year, not this year.
The cheating engine.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, listen, you gotta do what you gotta do to win, man.
So we all agree we believe that Checo will go to Haas.
He will what?
Checo will go to Haas.
Yeah, it is the best option, but I've also heard rumors that he's gonna go to Alpha. And that Haas, because Haas definitely has had some kind of talks with Hulkenberg even last year. But why not? Or you can get a dream team and get Hulkenberg and Checo.
That's what I'm saying.
Haas
it might be a good thing to have them both together again.
That wouldn't be a bad driver, I know.
Could you imagine you fire me from the team that I helped save? Now I got my old partner here. Because remember, they were together at Force India.
Yeah.
So, guys, I almost forgot the most important piece of news this whole week. I can't believe you guys almost let me get through this without saying it. But Nico Hulkenberg is now officially engaged.
Did you get the e-bite?
Not yet. I'm waiting for it in the mail.
I got
if not, I will Photoshop myself into it. So yeah,
I'll be taking care of his dog while I'm there.
Dog sitter.
The little
Yhancy the dog sitter.
The little, I don't know what it is. It's a Shih Tzu or whatever dog it is.
So obviously, with that bit of news, we saved the best for last. But moving on to the Russian Grand Prix race preview. So, guys, you know what we have to talk about first. What does the track look like to you?
I didn't even look into that, bro.
Oh my
Pull
God.
up the track map. Hold on.
So to me, I'm going to go first, obviously. So to me,
what is it?
You're going to save yours.
So to me,
save his opinion on it.
The track itself, it looks like a bottle opener.
A lot of tracks do like a bottle opener.
You said
Yeah,
that before.
but this
you
one
need
for
something
sure.
new, man.
Okay, so
all right, so
wait. So this one looks like a bottle opener the bartender would use.
right, like the one that's attached to her
Yep,
belt or
the ones that put
whatever.
in the belt.
Yeah, and then the backside of it, you see the top part where the start finish straight is. It looks like one of those the safety razors that they could flip back.
Oh yeah,
At the barbershop?
The
Maybe that's what it is with the handle. I don't know.
yeah.
Doesn't that kind of look doesn't that area look kind of like Baku at the it does look like a safety.
Well, yeah.
razor,
Guess what? It's Herman Tilke designing it.
All
So
these-
imagine like
all
supposedly
these damn
a
tracks
safety
look the
razor, but
same.
with the area that covers it, a real big one. You know, like a small blade, but a big retractable thing, whatever you want to call it. I will go with a safety razor better. We done can opener.
Hold on, Bo. We need to. Any animals? Any animals?
No.
No.
Do we see any
A
animals
rattlesnake,
in?
maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
With the head
A what?
at the bottom
A
and the
rattlesnake.
start finish area at being the rattle itself. I don't know.
Maybe a raccoon. I just wanted to
It's a
say.
real skinny raccoon.
I just wanted to say raccoon. I don't see a raccoon there at all. Yeah, no animals either.
So, just the track description itself, it's another track designed by legendary track designer Herman Tilke.
You call him legendary?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, let's not. I did a little bit of research on this. Let's not get ahead of ourselves on bashing him. He designed Austria, which is a great track. He designed Malaysia.
That's a good track too.
Bahrain, I don't really like it that much. I think that Shanghai,
But
the track
Bahrain
in
does give
China,
up some good races.
yeah.
Shanghai.
Shanghai is actually a nice track. He designed Marina Bay in Singapore, Marina Bay Circuit.
That's another good track too.
He also designed what Bernie Ecclestone called the greatest racetrack ever, which was Istanbul, Turkey.
Which we're going
So,
back this
yeah.
year.
Going this year.
Yep, exactly. And
Why
then
is this
from
guy not in a position somewhere?
there, it went to clunkers. It went to Yas Marina, Sochi. Oh, but he did throw in Coda. He designed Coda.
Oh, he designed Coda
Yeah,
too.
but that's the thing. Like when Coda's actually a really good track. What makes Coda good is because it's wide, so you can get some good races.
Dude, everything's bigger in Texas, dude.
Yes, Texas, baby. Yeah. Yeah, but what he's done with the last few tracks that he's designed is that he's taken elements. He's resting on his laurels. He's like, I'm gonna take Turn 8 from Turkey, and I'm gonna take the S's from Maggots and Beckett's, and I'll put them all on the same track. That's what he's done, and some have been hits, some have been not. Coda, I love. But Russia, as I mentioned last podcast, I never really look forward to Russia. I'm just holding hope. That's gonna be a good race. We do
Yeah.
get safety cars here, so
So, right at the start, there is turn 1 is a small kink, we'll call it. So what ends up happening is, and this happened last year, is the person that's in pole position is actually in danger of being passed by essentially anybody behind them because they're creating such a slipstream down to turn 2. It's essentially a very long straight. That leads into, I'll call it big parabolica, where it's a big left-hand turn.
that's
2, 3, 4, and
the imitation.
and it
turn
ends
8
at
in
5.
Turkey.
What'd you say, Jens?
That's the imitation Turn 8 in Turkey of this track.
Actually, that's a good point.
Yeah,
And then it becomes very angular from there. It's the typical new style Herman Tilke, just like Baku, like you said. Unfortunately, his turns 16, 17, which is a chicane, and then 18 into 19, it just leads into too much distance between the cars because they can't follow so closely, and that kind of kills going into that long straight. But that's Russia. To talk about some history, it's a track that's been raced in modern Formula One for the last 6 years, won by Mercedes the last 6 years. 4 of those 6 were Lewis Hamilton, and the other 2 were Nico Rosberg. In
Nico
2019,
Rosberg and
we
Bottas.
Bottas won.
both
Yeah,
of
he
them.
won in
Oh, my bad.
2017. That was his first race win. He does well in this track.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, he does very well in this track.
He does do very well.
He can't win this weekend though. We need Ham to tie.
to tie Michael Schumacher.
Yep.
Yeah, you're in the minority on this one. A lot of people want Bottas to win.
Really?
Whoa.
Yeah. I don't want Bottas to win.
I don't know.
Bottas should continue sucking.
I don't know. All right, so before we get to there, 2019, the podium was Hamilton, Bottas, Leclerc. 2018, it was Hamilton, Bottas, Vettel. 2017, Bottas, Vettel, Kimi, and then etc. It was just all Mercedes winners. Ruben, do you know any interesting track history here?
The only interesting thing is that it's done over pretty much the area where the Olympics was held. So it's done around
The Olympic Village?
Yeah, in Olympic Village of 2014. That's the only thing I got. It's too young.
And then didn't Mercedes race here 100 years before the track was brought back, or the Russian GP was brought back?
Yeah, it was they won 1913 and 1914.
And those are the only two other times that they've held the Grand Prix in Russia?
Yep.
Ruben saw it
Mercedes
live.
is one of them all?
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
You cannot forget that before Mercedes came back to Formula One, they were very dominant in the past.
No, I know that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
I got it. I know the history. I'm not a fan, but I know the history.
So one other piece of information is that Netflix for Drive to Survive Season 3 is following Mercedes at this track. And then now it's like a jinx.
Wait. Max might win?
I would almost lock it in. I would go to Vegas right now and say Max is going to win. Both Mercedes cars are going to crash out or something. It's like the Madden curse.
Oh.
So...
Yeah, last year when Netflix was in the Mercedes paddock was doing Hockenheim, and that was a wild race for them. I know Bottas went out early, and then the botch stop over the top. That I don't even want to call it botch stop.
That was the race with in, right? Where Lewis Hamilton was gonna pit, and then they were like, no, stay out. Or am I thinking?
That was the one where he broke his wind like at the last turn, and he went in. Super late that they weren't ready for him.
It started raining.
Yeah, it was raining because remember, right before him, Leclerc went out. So when Lewis came in, they were not ready. They brought out the wrong tires. They were dressed with with the outfits.
Yeah, it was a 1 minute
I think Lewis crashed right after Leclerc crashed.
Yes, right there. In the same spot.
The same,
which is crazy.
In the drag strip, which turned into an ice hockey rink.
I mean,
when it rained.
The worst part about that whole weekend was Toto Wolff and Lederhosen. That was terrible. So, predictions. Who wants to go first?
I will. Just because I want Ham to tie. Hamilton, Bottas, Max. Best of the rest this weekend. You know what? I'll go with Stroll, even though he sucks. But you got Yhancy.
Who's in fifth?
No, I said. Oh, you want fifth too?
Let's go top five, man. Let's do it. Listen. The real battles are in the midfield, man.
Sainz.
Oh, okay. How about you, Wells?
I'm gonna go Ham win, Bottas second. I think Bottas will get pole position.
That's another add to the weekend. Who do you think is going to get pole position?
Yeah, Bottas for sure. I think that third place will be Lance Stroll.
Third place?
Yes.
Wow, what makes you say that?
The engine.
Yeah.
I think that the Red Bull. Damn, I feel like we said this. What was the fast? Like we said this in Spa. We said this in like a couple other races where the Red Bull actually did pretty well. But I feel like it'll be exposed. I feel like that Mercedes engine will stretch his legs, and we'll see them including Racing Point, but not Checo. I just don't see it coming out of him this year anymore. And then in fourth I have Ricardo. Fifth I have Sainz.
Whoa.
We're not too
Not
far.
Max anywhere, huh? Whoa.
Damn, you
Dude,
think
we
Max
just
will
saw
finish
his
out of
power
the top
unit.
5?
Yeah, I think his power unit is all
So
screwed
what
up.
is it? The
I think
engine's
he's
going to
have
go
they're
out
not
on them
enough.
again?
Yeah, I read somewhere that Red Bull's not even developing that engine anymore. Like they're not going to keep developing that engine anymore.
Right, and who's fighting with that engine right now? Renault, and that benefits McLaren.
Yep.
And this is definitely a track that Renault runs well in too. Would run well in because they have these long straights,
Yeah, high speed.
90-degree corners. I hate 90-degree corners. They just make the racing. It's horrible. The only time I like 90-degree corners is in Baku, because they have whatever. That's another topic. But at least Baku has like this I think sector 2 where they have going through that castle section. It makes things a little bit more interesting. But this place has too many 90-degree corners. My Hamilton wins, of course. Come on, and yeah, Bottas will get pole, but he'll come in second because he doesn't even hold a candle to Lewis. I think Max gets third, man. I don't foresee. They've had 2 weeks off. I foresee Honda fixing any issue that they have with the engine. Max is definitely fast enough. He'll be the only one that can challenge the Mercedes or come close to the Mercedes. So I see Max getting third. We'll do Renault fourth with Ricciardo. And fifth, Lance Stroll.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that the Renaults will go well in. They usually do well on these kind of tracks. Well, they're doing well on these kind of tracks. And the Renault engine is actually very improved. So, and there's a really good battle going on between Renault, McLaren, and Racing Point right now. So, but I think that the Renault will do well here. So, fourth for Ricardo.
What do you put Leclerc?
Dude.
Okay, no answer.
Come on. Seriously?
No, it's your boy.
I don't see Ferrari even getting into the points, man.
Yeah, I think he'll do top 10 for sure.
I think he'll do top 10 for sure.
You think Vettel will do top 10 also?
Nope. Vettel one's out.
Vettel and it seems like Checo Perez is falling into the Vettel doldrums. Syndrome. Like, yeah, I'll just drive until I get to my team next year.
That's crazy, considering how Kimi did last week.
He beat a Ferrari. That's crazy.
But wait. And he also went through battle. Because all the action
was right in front of him.
Yeah, all the action was in front of him. Dude, he was actually seeing. He had first row seat.
Drivers of the day last race should have been Grosjean and Kimi just for getting through the entire race. They were literally in both accidents and in both major accidents, and they still finished the race, which is crazy, especially Grosjean.
Gentlemen, anything else before we enjoy this race weekend?
No, man. I'm just hoping we've gotten a safety car 5 out of the 6 races here in Sochi. So maybe the safety car will spice things up a little bit, depending on when it happens. So expect the safety car. We haven't had a red flag at Sochi. Maybe
does it even rain in Sochi?
I don't know. You're not gonna expect that. It doesn't really do that. No. The only thing that'll make this race interesting, I think, is a safety car. If not, it'll be a straightforward race, and then our predictions will be spot on.
Yes, sir.
All right, so everybody make sure to check us out on social media. Jump to Start F1 on Instagram and Twitter. Jump to Start Podcast on YouTube. And obviously, if you're listening on a podcast platform, we are on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn, and iHeart Radio. I don't think I missed any.
You didn't.
So,
are you sure?
Maybe. We're also on YouTube. Oh, I said that. That's it. Enjoy the race.
Bye.
Yeah.